Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our webinar, An Introduction to JavaScript. This presentation has been compiled in conjunction with my co-tutor, Emmanuel Puri. I'm Ian Msomi. Also, I'm a tutor here at ITonlinelearning for web and software development. So let's just dive right into it. And learn how to integrate JavaScript to assist us to make our HTML pages interactive. So what do we mean by interactive? Well, by interactive, we mean that the user can perform actions like button clicks, form submissions, and validations. And all these cannot be performed by HTML and CSS alone. So remember, HTML is just a presentation language. By that, we mean that it's a language that's used to present or display contents to end users using browsers such as Chrome and Firefox and so forth. Whereas CSS only helps us to style the displayed contents so that they look professional and presentable. Now, that being said, it means we need to learn an extra programming language to achieve functionalities other than HTML and CSS. Now, this is JavaScript. So what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a lightweight interpreted programming language. When we say lightweight programming language, we mean a language that doesn't require more CPU or RAM usage. This means that for one to start learning JavaScript, you do not need to have the most expensive computers because JavaScript can run in any machine, even with minimum requirements. So while we're at it, let's talk about programming languages. A programming language is a language which a human being uses to tell a computer what and how to do a particular task. However, a computer does not speak a human language, hence there's a need for translation from human language to machine language. Languages that are closer to machine understanding are called lower level languages, such as assembly language. However, languages that are closer to human understanding are called higher level languages, such as Java, Python, and many other languages. And remember, there is a distinction between Java and JavaScript. So when a human wants to communicate to a computer, they use a higher language. Once instructions are written in a higher level language, there's no need for translation from higher level to lower level language, which a computer understands. JavaScript is among the languages which can perform translated machine language. Excuse me. JavaScript is among the languages which can be translated into machine language. Now, whenever you're learning a new language, remember the most important thing to learn is the syntax of the language. In other words, syntax is simply the rules of that language. Every language has its own rules to follow, and any violation of these rules will result in an error message or an error pop-up. So a brief history about JavaScript. JavaScript was first known as LiveScript, but Netscape later changed its name to JavaScript, possibly because of the excitement that it was generated at the time by Java. Remember, I said earlier, Java and JavaScript are completely different languages. It just so happens that because Java was so popular that they named Netscape called LiveScript JavaScript. So JavaScript made its first appearance in Netscape 2.0 in 1995 with the name LiveScript, which again, like I say, has later became changed to JavaScript. We have various revisions of JavaScript that have occurred over the years. The original JavaScript, which came in the form of ES1, 2, and 3, were available between the years of 1997 and 1999. The first main revision, ES5, came about in 2009. The second revision, ES6, in 2015, and thereafter there have been additions between the years of 2016 and 2020. So let's discuss what JavaScript can do. Well, JavaScript can change HTML content, its attribute values, as well as HTML styles. JavaScript can hide or show HTML elements. It's used to create web and mobile applications. It's used in building web servers and server applications. It aids in game development. And it's also used extensively for artificial intelligence development as well. So why is JavaScript so important? Well, JavaScript is one of the most popular programming languages, which means it gives users many opportunities once they've learned it. It's very strong for front-end development as well as back-end development using such technologies as jQuery and Node.js and so forth. JavaScript is everywhere. It comes installed on every modern web browser, such as Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. And so to learn JavaScript, one doesn't need a special development environment, unlike other languages might require. JavaScript helps you to create beautiful and fast websites, which can provide users with the best graphical user interface. JavaScript has some very popular frameworks such as React, AngularJS, which are now trending and are extremely popular for both mobile and web application development. Some of the most useful JavaScript frameworks are Angular, React, jQuery, Vue.js, Ember.js, as well as Node.js. So how do we therefore apply JavaScript to our HTML documents? Well, we can apply JavaScript from the client side validation. So what does this mean? Have you ever logged into any web-based system or websites like Facebook, LinkedIn, or PayPal, and other online banking systems? So what happens when you enter the wrong inputs into in the register and login forms? Well, obviously, you get some errors or error messages like wrong input or invalid username or passwords. This is input validation by JavaScript. We can also use JavaScript for the manipulation of HTML pages. It is JavaScript that helps an HTML page change its look and feel based on different device requirements, as JavaScript helps in the adding and deleting of HTML tags. We also use JavaScript to execute user notifications. So sometimes you might wonder, whenever you visit any website and you discover some pop-ups like "Welcome to our website, click here to register." All those are powered by JavaScript. We also use JavaScript in back-end data loading. So JavaScript provides Ajax library, which helps in loading back-end data while you are doing some other processing. So this gives an amazing experience to the website visitors. We also use JavaScript in presentations. So JavaScript provides Revler.js and Bespoke.js libraries to build web-based slide presentations. We also use it in server applications where Node.js is built on Chrome's JavaScript runtime for building fast and scalable network applications. This is an event-based library which helps in developing very sophisticated server applications, including web services. So what do I need to start learning JavaScript? Well, you require a firm grasp of HTML knowledge, and as well as knowledge of object-oriented programming. So let's take a look at how JavaScript works, okay? let me just call up my code editor here so that we can have a look at JavaScript and appreciate JavaScript in action. So here in this example, JavaScript will find an HTML element using the with the ID which will be equals to demo, and it'll change the element content to inner HTML to reflect hello, I am new content. Okay, so here we've got our ID, which has been named demo, and there is the content currently being displayed. So when the user clicks on the button, we will use the get element by ID. In this particular instance, that ID is demo, and it'll alter that to reflect the inner HTML, which is hello, I am the new content. What does that look like when we are running it through our browser? Well, it looks like this. So here is our HTML content, and here is our demo. JavaScript can change HTML content, as you can see. When we click the button which has been predefined, it then alters the content of our HTML to reflect, hello, I am the new content. Okay, so that's JavaScript in action. When we click the button, it then alters the HTML content. Next, let's have a look at how JavaScript is able to alter the source to change the value of the source attribute of an image tag. So in this particular example, we have predefined two buttons. One is to turn on the light, or was defined as turn on the light. The second is turn off the light. Okay. Again, using the get element by ID, in this particular instance, it's been defined as pick. We then have our source, which is the bulb on GIF. Okay, and that's just a GIF or an image. So that is just a GIF that is called bulb on. Whereas alternatively, when we click the turn off the light button, it then alters that source to an alternative picture or GIF, which is the bulb off GIF. And what does that look like? Well, we've got our HTML content over here. Okay, we've got our predefined buttons, okay, with their relevant scripts. And this is simply just an image of a bulb that is off. We then change the source of, we then alter the source to reflect an image of a bulb that is on, giving the illusion that we are turning the bulb on and off by clicking the buttons. So in this particular instance, there you go, we've altered the image so we've altered the source to an image that depicts a bulb being on. And if you click the turn off button, again, the script executes to change the source of the image to a bulb, to an image of a bulb that is off. Okay. Next, we can have a look at how JavaScript can change the style of an HTML element. And this is a variation of changing an HTML attribute. So here we've got our ID, which reflects JavaScript can change the style of an element, of an HTML element. And on the click of the button, which has been predefined, we then we make use of the get element by ID. So it calls up that demo, and then it alters that style to change the color of it to red when we click the predefined button. What does that look like in our HTML or in our browser? Well, this is what the user would be able to see. So here we've got our ID, our ID, which is named demo. And on the click of the button, it alters the style of that particular HTML element to red. Okay, let me just do that again. So currently it's black, and it's been naturally styled to black, or by default styled to black. And we then change the style to make it red. Okay. Next, we can have a look at how JavaScript can be used to hide HTML elements, again, by changing the display style. So here we've got our HTML element. In this case, we've now identified this as demo once again, and we've predefined our button. It's called click here. Let's have a look at that on our browser. So when you click on the click here button, again, we are using the get element by ID. In this particular instance, again, the name is demo, and we alter the style, that is the style from to none. So here we've got hide me by clicking the button. Again, this is our content, and we alter the style when we click the button by changing the style to none. And there we go. We've now hidden our HTML elements using JavaScript. Okay. Next, we can so the reverse of the exact same thing is we can use JavaScript to show hidden HTML elements. Okay. Next, we can have a look at how JavaScript can be incorporated into our HTML document. One way to do this is to insert it into the body section of our HTML file. Okay. So let me just close that so that we can view that nicely. So here we've got our body. Here's our body tag, our open body tag, in which we've then inserted all of our content. And within our body tag, we then have our JavaScript, our open script tag, our script for our JavaScript, and then finally we have a closed script tag. And again, this is perfectly functional within our browser, so that is what it looks like there. Here's our demo, here's our content, and JavaScript is now displaying our content. Okay, and that's having our JavaScript within our HTML documents in the body section of our HTML document. We can also do this by placing JavaScript into the head section of our JavaScript document. So here we have the head, we have the open head, we have the open head tag. Within that, we then have our open script tag. Our script is now placed within, and our closed script tag there below. And finally, of course, if you've got an open head tag, you must have a closed head tag. And that is then our JavaScript within the head section of our HTML document. Okay. Now, the more popular way in which to incorporate JavaScript into our HTML document is simply by using an external style sheet. In this particular instance, our external file is called myscript.js. That is the name of our external JavaScript file. And if you want to know what that looks like, here it is over here. This is just an external file, completely separate from our HTML document, but it's referenced within our HTML document. If you want to see an example of that, let's have a look at it over here. So again, here's our open script tag, the source, and our external file, and our closed script tag that then follows afterwards. So by doing this, it's the same as what we would do with if we had an external CSS style sheet. And there's our JavaScript. It's complete. In this particular instance, it's empty, but we would have our JavaScript code running here. And that's how you basically would incorporate it as an external style sheet. Next, let's have a look at JavaScript functions and events. So a JavaScript function is a block of JavaScript code that can be executed when called for. For example, a function can be called when an event occurs, like when the user clicks on a button. So let's have a look at that. Here we've got, again, in our head section, we've got our JavaScript code. So here's our open script tag. And here is the function which will be called when the user clicks on the predefined button, which in this particular instance is try me. So let's just have a look at that on our browser. So the function gets called when an event happens. In this particular instance, it's clicking the try it button. Hi, I am a paragraph to be changed. So here's our element. And when we alter that, the function then executes by requesting the get element by ID, which in this instance, again, is demo. And it alters that element to I am now a new paragraph. Okay. And this is just an example of how you can use JavaScript, one of its many, many functions that it has. But this is just a simple explanation of how you can use it and a simple example of it. Of course, they do get far more complex when you are executing, when you're having to execute other tasks. Now, let's have a look at JavaScript values. The JavaScript syntax defines two types of values. Firstly, you have fixed values and you then have variable values. Fixed values are called literals. Variable values are called variables. Now, JavaScript literals, there are two most important syntax rules to remember for these fixed values. And these are that numbers are written with or without decimals. If we have a look at that over here, so here is our number and it's written as 10.5, and let's have a look at that on our browser. Okay, sorry, it's written as 10 without decimal. And if we insert a decimal over there you go, it's now 10.5. So numbers can be written with or without decimals. It'll still execute just fine. Okay, so on the other hand, we then have strings, and strings are written with double or single quotes. Either way, our code will still execute without issue. So here in this particular instance, we have John Doe. John Doe is now our string or our strings or our text written with double quotes. Okay. If we were to alter that, and here it is displayed here on our browser. Okay, let me just refresh that so you can see that. So here it is in our browser. And if we change that You see it went away the minute I took away one of the quotes. And yet when we have single quotes, our script still executes without issue. And again, if you obviously change that back to the double quotes, again, it disappears the minute the code is wrong because I've used a single quote and a double quote. They have to be double quotes, as one would normally use them within any language. Okay, and we've altered it, and yet there it is, John Doe still appears. So those are the two rules when it comes to the syntax of literals and strings. Okay, right. So that concludes our webinar on JavaScript and how to use it and execute it within our HTML files. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar. We hope you have enjoyed it, as well as found it informative and interesting. We've covered quite a bit of ground in the webinar, so I hope you all have learned something new and something valuable that you can carry into your career. If you want to learn more about topics we've discussed today, please feel free to visit our website and check out our resources and courses that we offer. You can also follow us on social media to stay up to date with our latest webinars, news, and announcements. We post regular updates and useful tidbits of information on our social media channels. So make sure to follow us and join the conversation. If you're interested in taking a course on any of the topics we've covered in today's webinar, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Our team is always ready to answer any of your questions and to help you identify the course that is best suited to your needs and goals. Thank you once again for joining us, and we hope to see you in our next webinar. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.